What is up, my beautiful people? Happy Thanksgiving. This is film on Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate Thanksgiving, or happy holidays as well, whenever you watch this. I wanted to give a quick review of Zootopia 2 because I like the movie. I went with my kid. In fact, that was the first movie I watched with my kid, it's my first movie my kid watched, and he loved it a lot. He actually paid attention to it. It was great. I was actually surprised because I was like, whoa, there's some story to it. Okay, I mean, my normal perspective on kids movies is kind of like, kids movies, I should say, it's not really kids movies either, is it speaks for a lot of people. You know, when you watch a movie as a kid, you watch Shrek, you're like, oh my gosh, you know, it's like a kid movie, it's funny. But when you watch it as an adult, you know, you're like, wow, I understand Shrek's, you know, exile, his acceptance to become somebody else, his acceptance to his rejection of society, and him being accustomed to that. But then Donkey being there for him, he brought him back to society, and he united himself with who he really was, and he found the love of his life. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that beautiful art? I mean, I think it speaks for what Shrek is, you know. But enough of Shrek, guys. This isn't about Shrek. It's about Zootopia 2. I think the story was pretty good. I will say this is based on me. I did have to leave a little bit, and there's like a swamp area where I had to leave because my kid had to go to the bathroom. But that's the only part I missed. But it was great. The story was good. It went smoothly. I think the idea of what it was trying to hit was good because it threw me off guard. I will say it was a bit weird that Judy Hopps and the Fox dude were like really close. I'm like, I don't know where they were going because, you know, it's a bit spoiler, but not too spoiler. I'm not trying to spoil the movie, but it's like there was times where they were like almost about to kiss, and I was like, are they gonna kiss? Like, is this where we're going? Because if we're going like this is the fandom is gonna go crazy. Okay. But they didn't, well, you know, they didn't get there. So, but they were getting close, and I was like, is that weird? I'm like, is this getting weird? My hair's all silly looking. But it didn't go there, luckily, because I'm like, you know, and they did address that themselves, because if you watched, well, in the beginning of the movie, right off the bat, right away, so it's you know, it's not really a spoiler, there's a scene where they're walking in as a couple, really, and then another character in the movie is like, oh, a fox and a bunny? I was like, okay. So, you know, it's a bit silly, but they addressed ideas. And I mean, I'm sure in the storyboard, they kind of had that, you know, I'm sure they had a timeline where that was possible, but they just didn't want to, like, go there because I'm sure they didn't want to answer that for the kids. You know, like, I mean, the kids probably didn't care, but it's like eventually as a kid, you're like, whoa. But then again, that's probably not the worst thing that Disney has made. So, you know, you have Pocahontas, so it's like, you know, it ain't that bad. So, but it was pretty good. I liked it. I always love a good movie theater experience. I don't have any really bad takes. I mean, I could always tell when a movie's about to end because it, like, with Disney movies, you can always, like, you know, or most movies have a climax. It's like, okay, they build up to this and then they get over that obstacle, which is not just necessarily the physical obstacle, the physical problems that they have, but the emotional connection that you know, beyond what they're doing, you know, third layer in it. Once they get past that, and then, you know, you can tell once that hits, it's kind of like a smooth ride all the way down really fast because they wrap it up pretty quick. So yeah, but it was pretty good, and I would recommend watching it. It was good. It was good. I'll give it from 1 to 10. I'll give it like a solid 8. Only because, a 7 because I wasn't fully watching it because I was more entertained by my kid watching the movie. So, but I was watching it. I wasn't fully immersed. You know, I couldn't like sit down and just, you know, stare at it. But it was a good movie. So if you guys want to watch it, I always say go watch it because it's good. And yeah. So have a good one. Let me say, guys, I have to be honest with you. I admitted something from my own experience from the movie that I got from that I didn't add on this video, but I did have to add it because I'm like, I have to let the world know. Okay, here's the thing. When people watch this movie, and the movie, okay, this is the spoiler part. So if you want to watch the movie and not get spoiled, please take away. But maybe I'll speak on this in a matter of subjects. But the idea, where do people watch a movie, a kid's movie, right? And it's like, okay, this is a spoiler part. So if you're watching this, but like in the movie, it's basically about people that get their land taken away from them, and then, you know, it's like taken over somebody else in an unethical way. Well, it's always unethical, but their land gets taken away. And I'm like, how do people watch this movie and then turn around and then promote hate? You know what I mean? So I don't get it, but it's just so funny to me that people watch this movie and then be like, oh, like this is horrible. Like, of course they're the heroes, but then it's like they watch the movie and then they get out of it, and then when it comes to real life subjects, it's like, oh, like of course they're the villain, or of course they were right to take away the land. It's like it makes no sense to me. So it's just funny to me when the movies have like these hero and and villains, and it's so clear that they're villains. But then when it comes to real life comparisons, it's like it's obvious that they're the villains, but it's like so blind. It's like the idea of religion, and I don't want to get into the subject too much, but it's like the idea of religion. I'm gonna be hitting a lot of markers here. But it's like the idea of religion, okay? It's like if you believe in one thing but reject everything else, like you're not open to anything else, but you deeply religious people, I would say in this matter, are the ones that are saying like, okay, well, I believe in this one religion. And I'm quoting Neil deGrasse Tyson because he came up with this idea, or at least he's the one that told me, or I heard about this idea from him. But it's like, if you believe in one religion but reject outright every other religion, you're an atheist to those religions, except for this one, right? So how is it that you can't take a movie's subject and then put it into real life comparisons and be like, that makes so much sense? Like, obviously, right? It's like all you gotta do in this matter is take the names and change them, and then you're like, yeah, right? But it's like when it starts touching roots or identities of you or people that you relate to or ideas you relate to, it's like no, there's no way that's possible. So yes, I always think about that with movies. I'm like, it's so obvious that the villains, right? They're the villains, right? It's like anyone who watches this movie, you'll be like, yeah, they're the villains. But then you're like, it's unethical to take land away. And then it's like, you're like, yeah, but then it's like, if people that are hateful, that promote bigotry, ignorance, would be like, oh, well, hold on, there's actually a reason for, so, yeah. So that's all I wanted to add, because it's just so funny to me that these movies are so obvious. And there's so obvious comparisons in real life. But then it's like, no, it's different, So, but that's all I want to say. I'm not going to get too deep into it. So, thank you guys so much. That was more of a rant. So, thank you. Bye.